So we'll just fire up Logscope and it loads up like so. There is a project and there is import option, but we're going to use demo just to show you how the crossplots actually work. So if I tap on example, I'm going to create a new one. This is going to be called example 1, and the data loads, and as is customary with Logscope, it loads the data using a default template that you set up in settings. The first thing that I'm going to do is just illustrate where the commands are. If you're on a tablet, you swipe down from the top, and if you're on a desktop, it's the right mouse click that brings up the menu. Across the top you see the menu for the various options, and we're going to focus on the option zones in a minute, but first of all we're going to look at the crossplots and look at some of the basic functionality that's available in the crossplots. So down the bottom we have header, data view, plot, and crossplot and deviation plot. So we'll go to the crossplot. And when you go to the crossplot, it pulls up a plot that shows you the y-axis, the x-axis, and the z-axis. So let's create a crossplot of density neutron. So if we select the y-axis by tapping on it, it asks us for a log, so we go in and we select the log. I'm actually going to type in and use the search capability to get it. Now once you select the log, it comes back and says, do you want to do the log only, which changes the log header, and you have to set all the parameters, or everything, where it tries to set the minimum, maximum, major and minor deviation and the function to some sensible values. So that set up the density. So now we'll do the neutron. So we use the neutron, and I'm just going to use the thermal neutron. And again, we're going to use everything, and it sets it to sensible values. And there we have the data plotted, just the x and the y. But I'd like a z-axis on this, and I'm going to use the gamma ray for that. So when you tap on the z-axis, the solid color is black, but if I change it to red, all the points will be changed to red. Or if I say none, it actually automatically says, okay, so you want to use a log as your z-axis. So here we're going to use the gamma ray, and it's going to change everything, and it's got the values in there, and we just hit OK, and we see the plot set up. Okay, you'll notice that there are histograms at the top, on the right hand side and on the bottom, that represent the histograms of the data sets that have been plotted. So if you tap on the histogram, you will get the minimum, maximum, mean and standard deviation of each of those particular plots. Now again, as with all applications, you swipe down from the top to get the menu, and you have the template and regions here. And we're going to play with region. So if I tap on region, I want to add a region. So basically you just tap on the screen and highlight the points that you want as a region. We can then write that as a flag, or we can put a regression line. So I'm going to write it as a flag, and this allows me to write it as either as between 1 to 5 flags. So I'm going to select flag 1. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just do a regression line. So that's a regression line through the data. The final thing I'm going to talk about is the region type. You can use the region as either a region, which creates a region flag, or as bad hole, which actually populates the bad hole flag, which is used in conjunction with the caliper and the D-row correction on the log analysis. So that's defines that particular information. Now, some other things that you can do with the crossplots is if you use your fingers, you can pinch and squeeze, and it auto changes the crossplot, the histograms on the axes, so that you actually get to the minimum maximum of the values actually plotted. If you move the crossplot, you will actually see the data scrolling. If you squeeze the crossplot down, obviously you can get back. So if you're pressed for time and you don't want to mess around with scales, you can build your crossplot and then pinch and squeeze to get the scale that you wish. So that's the first thing that we're going to do with crossplots. And now we're going to show you a little bit about the zoning. So we go back to the plot, and we know that in this well we have a reservoir down the bottom, and I'm going to put in 2 zones. So I'm going to switch on show zones, so it actually shows the zones on the plots that we build, and I'm going to hit the edit, and then what I do is I tap on the point that I want the zone, and I build that particular zone. If I tap on it, I can move it up and down. So there we go. So now I've created my zones and they're on the plot. The one thing is that the crossplots also have the ability to show the lithology lines and so on the actual crossplots, and this ability comes with the log analysis capability. So if we go to the parameters, we see that we've got 2 zones, and we've got the logging company of Schlumberger, and the only other parameter we need to worry about is the neutron type. And I'll just get to the parameter. So we'll change this to Schlumberger TMPH and do the same thing with this one. And then I'm just going to do processing so everything is nicely populated. So now we go to the crossplots, and we have a set of general crossplots at the top, and we have a set of crossplots down the bottom. You'll see here we've got this save parameter. That allows me to save this as a global crossplot, and I'll call it Okay, so the crossplot saved as Nick. So if we go to the neutron density crossplot, we can now see that we've got the same crossplot as we created as a template, but this time, because it's a log analysis crossplot, is populated with the lithology lines and the points associated with the log analysis. So you can touch the points and move them around, and you can show the parameters associated with the crossplot by just pulling out the menu like so. And if we just go down here, we can change the parameters will actually change as you work through the crossplots. And we can hit the process button, and that's done. Here we can actually also use the region command as well. So we want to add a region, so we just tap on the crossplot and draw around, and we can write those as, say, another region flag 2. And then we can also do regression, and as you can see, it produces the regression linear, polynomial, exponential, and shows you the parameters, and you can tap on that and you can copy those particular points. So let's go back to the plot. Oops. And let's add the region to the depth track. So we go through here. We need to change the scale of this. Change it from 0 to 5. And we can add shading. And there we go. So we've got the values shown there, and if we expand the scale, we can pinch and squeeze, and we can see where our values are. So let's just change the scale to 1:200. And there we have the plot. Yeah. So that's all there is to the crossplot capability. Regions are available with the general crossplot capability. The zoning is available with the log analysis capability. Thank you very much.